Good evening and welcome to The Uncomfortable Truth, this show that likes to challenge the popular narratives. Big up to our sponsors, Cop It and Check It. Breaking news, Manchester City have killed the quadruple. I repeat, they have killed the quadruple. Praise be the Lord. Praise be the Lord. Now, this show is going to be rated for S, for slander, for shamelessness. I don't care. The season is done. The real uncomfortable is going to be coming out on a lot of teams, and I don't care because it's going to be backed up. Now, as always, we have Doctor Who Sam, who's going to be repping it. Sam, I'm going to ask you a few questions, but first, I'm going to get on my soapbox. I'm getting that high horse. Napoleon's coming out. No. Thank God. Like this just to put it into context, guys. This is like the worst nightmare. Okay, the fact that Man City and Liverpool are pushing for a title. This is worst case scenario. Okay, throwing a Leeds on top of that, and it's a three-way end of the season. Yeah. I think it gets as worse as it gets. But luckily, this stupid quad narrative is now done. I don't have to hear it anymore. I'm definitely going to be going out the media in terms of how they've been twerking for this Liverpool. But the fact is, yeah, Man City won in very dramatic fashion to a point that they probably think 3-2 is their scoreline.
Yeah, I was worried. At one point I was kind of worried, but then it was one of those things where I when you start getting scared and then you realize something and then you become calm again. I was so scared, and then I looked over and they showed Steven Gerrard, and I just got flashbacks to when he slipped. Something like, this guy just doesn't know how to he doesn't know how to hold a lead. Even this season, we've seen Villa go up and then capitulate. I just felt it coming, and then Ben Pep made those subs. Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I was like, Gundogan is really coming on to do something different. And then he came on. 5 minutes is all it took. 5 minutes. In general, as a manager, you should be ashamed to concede 3 goals in 5 minutes. But to be 2-0 up, then to concede and then to be 3-2 down after 5 minutes of play, when you just really you had a deserved 2-0 lead, and you just the way this is just flashbacks to the way he said don't let it slip. He let it slip again as a manager.
Hey, Sam, I want to up the energy. Guys, hit that like if you are glad that the quad is done. It's over for Liverpool. Hit that like, share this, subscribe if you are glad that Liverpool's quad is now done. I'm so glad. I'm so glad, because you know what? It's not even the Liverpool fan. Actually, yes, it is the Liverpool fans, but it's not even that per se. It's all the media attention, agenda, and everything like that. What absolute waffle, absolute nonsense. Like this team. honest to God, like Liverpool have done well. It'd be really disingenuous to say otherwise, but like the way that these guys have been propped in ahead of City is hilarious, absolutely hilarious. But you know what, let's go through like how these teams have done. So Man City
Mm.
have won the Premier League,
Yeah.
93 points.
Mm.
You know, it's another season where you know City have won in the 90s. Liverpool obviously missing out by a point. Um, summarize their season, Sam. I want to hear
With
the
Man
agendas. I want to
City,
hear it.
with Man City, like I don't like. I feel like at the start of the season, I'm pretty sure most people just assumed Man City were going to win. I don't know why Liverpool fans deluded themselves into thinking they had a chance when this is the master of winning league titles. He just knows how to do it. And the fact they had a thought, they really thought he was going to lose on the final day. Like he's been there, done that before in the same fashion against your manager. Like why? This isn't shocking. We all knew City were going to win. It was just when they won or how they won.
But realistic, Sam. How did you feel when Man City were 2-0 down?
When they were 2-0, I told you I was scared. But then you just look at the manager of Aston Villa and you're like, this is Slippy G. This is the guy who slipped as a player and failed and cost them points against Chelsea after saying don't let it slip. Then he went on to play to Crystal Palace, also did there as well against the dead Palace team. Like, come on, this isn't the guy that's gonna stop Pep Guardiola. Let's think about it. This is the guy who left Rangers, and Rangers have now gone on to go into a European Cup final. Like, how good is this guy really? I think people overhyped him as a manager, just like they did with Lampard, and thought he was really going to do something. Next season, don't be surprised if Villa are dwindling bottom half, trying to fight to stay up and all that nonsense. Like, don't be surprised. Like, and
if you agree, hit that like. If you think Villa are gonna struggle, hit that like, guys. Look, Sam, for me, look. When it comes to Man City win the title, you know, the narrative, the push, the agenda that's been going on for the last few weeks, something I've been very vocal on is this whole Pep versus Klopp. You know, we've been told that this is the Pep and Klopp era. Well, Pep has now won his fourth Premier League. He's won his fourth Premier League. At the same time, Jurgen Klopp has only won one. 1 in 7.
Wait,
1
so
in 7.
Who came first? Pep or Klopp?
I want to say Klopp.
So Klopp's come first. He's been here 7 years, almost 8, for one league title. When Pep has come here, people are going to talk about, oh, he had the money, blah 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 blah. But he was still able to come in and win. But 4 league titles in
when is he going to get the credit? When is he going to get the credit? Because this is the thing. I want to start seeing people start twerking, doing a 180 on here, and then talking about, oh yeah, Klopp is the Klopp. Pep's the one because he's won the fourth one. There was so much slander, fraudiola, and everything like that. I want all the people who have called him fraudiola. I want you to get on here right now, and I want to hash it out with you. Because for me, what are you talking about? The man has won 4 Premier League titles. He is outright the second best when it comes to Premier League. Yeah. So people want to talk about Klopp and say that he's one of the best managers in the Premier League. Based on what? Because he's won the same Premier Leagues as Kenny Dalglish at Blackburn, as Claudio Ranieri at Leicester.
Wait, hold on. Speaking of Ranieri, it took Ranieri less time with a much worse squad to win a Premier League title. Klopp has had 7 years to get the players he wants, to get the full squad he wants, to try and be competing on all fronts to get 1 Premier League title, and Ranieri did it in less time.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Also, you know, to win the Premier League, I'm not going to get into whether, you know, COVID played into that or what. They won the Premier League. When history is there, they've won it. One of the worst title defenses I've actually seen. They made Man United's look bloody just as rosy. The hilarious thing is, I've never seen a team go from talking about dynasties, just winning their first ever Prem, to having the worst title defense and having a funeral parade for a year over Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah.
When every other team in football has had footballing injuries, yet this bloody club want to make out that Virgil van Dijk really is the be all and end all, and you couldn't do anything. You conceded less goals when he wasn't there. What are you talking about?
Statistically.
So, yeah, I'm kind of personally, with all the agendas I've seen, I'm glad for Pep. I'm glad for Pep. If you're a Pep fan, hit the like button, because you need to speak up and back your man here, because this is somebody who is younger than Klopp.
Yeah.
I've been told that this is a guy who's younger than Klopp, but Klopp's got more to give.
What more to give though? Where's the more?
What, because somebody happens to own, like, literally gets job offers at big clubs, because big clubs know that he will come with success.
He gets job offers at big clubs because they know he's the guy. Like, okay, so let's say you're good at your job. Why would you now go, like, let's say like you're good at, you're a chef, you're a great chef, Michelin star chef, like Gordon Ramsay. Why would Gordon Ramsay now go to work in a McDonald's?
Yeah, 100%.
To prove what? To prove what? The guy has won a treble. He's won was it his first season as well? He's like his first season in senior management.
Yeah.
And then he's won 2 Champions Leagues, and he's won how many league titles? And we're comparing it to really a guy who's, how many league titles has he really won? How many Champions Leagues has he really won? His biggest job was a failing Liverpool side. A Liverpool side that hadn't won the league in how many years? And that is the biggest job he could attain. Because is that like, come on?
Well, we had this discussion where, people are coming out with their breath smelly and everything like that, saying, well, yeah, but Man City have bought the league, right? Liverpool have, they've built the squad and this, that, and the other. And what, I don't want to wash your mouth out. Get that soap and give it a scrub. Look at the transfers that are coming. Look at your outgoings. You want to talk about Man City and spending and net spend. You go look at Man City's net spend and you compare it to Liverpool's net spend this season. You look at Liverpool's last season and the season before that. Last 3 years, and Man City's and Liverpool's have actually been very comparable. So what are you talking about? So why is it that Klopp will get all the glory for it, but Pep Guardiola's bought the league? Keep your energy consistent, guys. That's what I'm saying. Like, if Man City by default have bought the league because of the last few transfer windows, then so have Liverpool. Look at the inbounds and the outbounds. I don't care about what they did 10 years ago, because 10 years ago, God, if we want to look at stuff 10 years ago, Man United were relevant. Yeah? We're not doing a history lesson here. We're talking about the here and now. I've even given you 3 years worth. People want to say, oh, yeah, but Man City bought the league because they spent £100 million on Jack Grealish. Okay, and who else? Who else, people? Who else?
But we can even
Didn't they get Bank for Ferran Torres? But when Liverpool do it, they're running their club well. It's the consistency that I hate, guys. It stinks. Clean
like Jota, like, so when they bought Jota and Thiago, who were they really selling that season? Who did they sell to buy Konate and Diaz? Who did they sell? The guy, young player,
Harry Wilson.
Harry Wilson.
For not that much money, I'll tell you that one for free.
For I think like 10 mil.
Dan James went for trouble.
So why are we acting like Liverpool? And there's so many things about that club that if we get into all of it, it starts to look a lot shady. We have the fact that 22 players at Liverpool are literally on the list for asthma. That is 5 times the national average. But no, like, and if you have asthma as a football player, you're entitled to like certain medications or certain things that actually improve your stamina. But that's a bit tin for a hat, but it has to be included. We have to talk about the fact that the media, who are a lot of former Liverpool supporters or people that are around the Liverpool Football Club, push narratives in favor of Liverpool. And whenever another club is doing something well, for example, when United were getting all the penalties, they stopped. Klopp says something, the media pushes that agenda, and now suddenly we've gone from being the club with who, rightfully so as well. If you looked at a lot of those penalties, they've actually been reviewed again. Majority of those penalties, I think barring 2, were legitimate penalties. So looking at and the fact that now we're just not, even when we've had rightful penalties, it's just been looked off. And the fact that and you have the Liverpool VAR, the offside lines happen to just magically change when it's in their favor, but like when it's in other teams, it just changes so that they don't score. For example, Lukaku in the Carabao Cup, he clearly was onside, and they used his elbow to show an offside line. I think there's a lot of things that like Liverpool is quite like it's almost like a communist bubble thing where they just don't allow any other voice or any other thing to go against this narrative that they've built up, that by doing the bare minimum, they can be compared to some of the greatest teams ever. One Premier League and one Champions League does not put you on the same level as a treble winning side. It does not put you on the same level as someone who's won 4 titles in 5 years. That is not the same. To be that consistent, to win a domestic, he's won a domestic treble. He's gone over 100 points and won 4 titles in 5 years. And you're talking about the worst Champions League final I've ever seen. And the one season when Man City had lots of injuries and literally was starting to rebuild their squad again. But now we're gonna say, oh, Liverpool beat the greatest team ever, blah blah blah, and all this weird. It's just this weird like, oh, it has to be us. We're the best when you've done really nothing.
Well, this is the thing, and I kind of want to move on quickly from Liverpool and Man City, because this is the Premier League review essentially, and this is our thoughts on it. One player who will definitely need to be going to church is Jack Grealish. £100 million. What did you do? I hope for next year, son, that you step up in the ways that Mahrez has, Bernardo has, etc. Because to claim that you've got a Premier League title after the season that you've had, you were supposed to be the guy who was going to come in and change something coming in at that price. All you've been is the backup dancer to Phil Foden, who didn't cost a penny. Deep that for a second. You didn't even cost a penny. 100 million. Now, I appreciate Jack Grealish never defined himself as a £100 million player, but when we hear the narrative, and this is what today's going to be, I am getting that sword out, I'm getting on my soapbox, I'm going to be cutting down all those agendas. When it's a certain player in midfield at Manchester United who cost 80 million plus, when you hear all the noise that comes from that, I want the same consistent energy when it comes to this guy. So Jack Grealish, you're a very, very lucky guy. Now, moving on from £100 million fraud to another, Romelu Lukaku and Chelsea. Chelsea finished 3rd. I don't know how. I don't know. I honest to God, for me, this is the strange one, because they've done nothing. If you really think about it, they've done nothing this season. All they had to do, actually, the only thing that Chelsea needed to do was just win that bloody FA Cup final game, or perhaps even the League Cup final game, one of the two. But no, you can't take penalties. Thanks ever so much. Cheers, cheers, guys. That's all you needed to do.
It's
all you need to do.
unfortunate. It's so with Chelsea, they've been helped by the fact everyone else has been so bad. Because really, if we're being really honest, they've been very mediocre. If you were to give their season a rating out of 10, you would give it a 5. Because it hasn't been it hasn't been good, it hasn't been bad, it's been nothing.
I can't work it out, Sam. I can't work it out because this is, and I had, to be fair to Chelsea fans, I feel like I've been consistent about what their season will be. And I felt like I have been quite on the money with it. I said from the beginning, go look back at previous videos, the top 3, Man City will win it with Liverpool and Chelsea. I did say that Liverpool would probably fall away after AFCON. They didn't. So I have to take it there. But I felt Chelsea would have fallen away around Christmas time, January. That's when it would happen. And the thing is, for me, everybody was all getting giddy at the start when your fullbacks were scoring, when Ben Chilwell was scoring and Reece James was scoring or Alonso was scoring. And I said, guys, it is not sustainable for a team to rely on fullbacks to constantly bail you out of games. I was slandered. I'm a hater, this, that, and the other. When the fuck have you ever seen in football fullbacks winning you Premier Leagues? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. They can be obviously a big part of your setup, but winning you games week on week on week, no, that's what strikers are paid to do. That's what they're there for. Now, Chelsea defensively are good, but Chelsea offensively have been woeful. You spent £100 million on Lukaku. There still hasn't been really anything from Havertz. Werner, like that debate's done now. I don't want to hear. I couldn't give a toss. Watch any Chelsea fan has to come in here. And by the way, guys, feel free to hit that StreamYard link to call in. Because if you want to come dance for your team, then do it. I will cut you down. I am Jack, and I'm literally cutting down that beanstalk today. Like, I'm not having it. Your offensive line has been shit, and that's the kicker. I can't work it out. I don't know if Tuchel is actually a genius because he's had to deal with crap, or if he's actually an idiot because he's spent that much money on that attack. Well, say actually, he's had an expensive attack because actually Lampard was probably behind a lot of those transfers. Yet he's done nothing. He's neither here or there. But they have had a lot of injuries. I will give him that. I will give them that. If Liverpool have had their if Liverpool have had their little funeral parade for a year on Virgil van Dijk, then by player comparison, Chelsea should be due a 10-year bloody mourning process.
Yeah. See, with Chelsea, one person that has just been, when no one has brought up the fact that this guy has been the biggest flop. I don't care. Chelsea have the 2 biggest flops this season. They've got Lukaku and they've got that bum on loan, Saul. No one has talked about this guy. This guy's been hiding. Because when they first got him on loan, I was told this is Atletico's best midfielder. Oh, this is the Iniesta regen. Oh, this is the guy. He's gonna be the guy to help us. He's gonna slot in that midfield perfectly. He's gonna now bench Kovacic and Jorginho. Where has he been? Forget. You know what? Forget this. This is my agenda, Sam. This is my agenda coming out now, and I don't give a toss. Yeah, this is the end of season. You ain't gonna see my face until the start of next season anyway. Look. Callum Hudson-Odoi, I want to get this out in public. So I keep getting told this guy's the truth. Where is he? Yeah. I want to hear the 20,000 excuses that's going to come following in the chat when it comes to this guy. I want to hear it. I can see the Chelsea fans all loading up here. I thought this guy was the truth. We're now into the 4th, 5th season. What's he done? What? I heard apparently balled against Norwich and some team I can't even remember in the Champions League. But this guy's the truth. What? And yet you wanna shit on Mason Mount every game. Who's actually contributed. I'm pretty sure he's actually Chelsea's highest contributor. Most goals, most assists, and most chances created for Chelsea.
Nah, fuck this. This guy, Callum Hudson-Odoi, he's an Instagram footballer, yeah? He comes in, does a few tricks, lives off it for a year. You guys literally get giddy over it, and you want to slander Mason Mount. You want to slander Mason Mount when he's actually there consistently. You know, he's literally your most consistent player of the season. Nah, I ain't buying into that bullshit. You can kiss my ass on that front. Call in if you want to disagree with me on that one. I'm prepared for the fight. I'm prepared for the fight because you've got nothing to back it up with. You've got a shitty game against Norwich and a team I can't even remember in the Champions League to back it up. Him and your Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
That was the one I was gonna get on. That was the one I was gonna get on.
Bye. Chelsea, if I'm treating you seriously here, hit that like if you're a Chelsea fan, yeah, and you want to be treated seriously. Stop twerking for these guys. You're better than this. I'm not buying into it. Move on from him.
Loftus-Cheek, really, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, the guy that no one saw him last season, but he was trash on loan last season, but no one talks about it. And they were saying, "Oh no, let Conor Gallagher go out on loan and bring back someone else." Come on. This ain't the guy. Can we get back on Kai Havertz? Because we need to get back on Kai Havertz because I'm always hearing, "Oh, Jadon Sancho, blah blah this, Jadon Sancho, blah blah that." You bought this guy for how many mil? Maybe like 1 mil less. Something like that, and what has he really done? It's been 2 seasons now. He still has failed to show up in games. When you need him, he's scared. He's not doing it. Like it's always been an issue. First, it was Lukaku's benching him. He should be starting up front. Then he starts up front. He does nothing. He's supposed he's supposed to be a creator. He put on. What's good? You made him a creator. He does nothing again. What is he good at? And then you've also got this guy Ziyech as well, who's just literally the same. Apparently,
the second coming, the second non-coming, more like.
Apparently, we got the best Ajax player. But honestly, Ziyech scores 2 worldies a season, and that's all he is literally the African version of Andreas Pereira. And if you know, like just a few worldies a season to keep you in that shirt every single season. You I keep hearing the Yek.
Hit the like if you think Ziyech is the Andy Pereira of Chelsea. Andreas Pereira.
I could argue that Andreas has had more good games for United than Ziyech has had for Chelsea, and I'm not joking on that. I've seen the guy show up again. I've seen Andreas actually have a decent game against a very good Liverpool side. I've never seen Ziyech do anything near that.
Careful, Sam. You know the lazy media will be linking us with Ziyech because of Ten Hag. You know it's going to happen.
Yeah, but but it's the media. The media say whatever they want just to get clicks. The same media will now say that, this guy, Hudson-Odoi is going to be the next big thing. He's going to be the next great winger. We still ain't seen anything from him. I was hearing this guy is better than Saka. The whole season. That's all I heard. And look at what's happened now. When was the last game he actually played? We haven't even seen what is this comparison? Like the guy gets injured and then he goes out Instagram a few pictures. He's got his lovely necklace. Have you seen it, by the way? It's the corniest necklace I've ever seen. Is
it worse than Rashford's one?
Yes.
Ooh. Here you go. Quick poll, guys. Who's got the cornier necklace?
They're both awful though. They're both awful. And then you've got this guy, and I was also told, this great defense. Wait, hold on. Before the defense, Jorginho, 3rd in Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, you know what? Let's bring it out. Sam, bring it out. Yeah, I think, let's bring it out. Come on.
This is how far football has fallen. If that kind of player is getting 3rd in Ballon d'Or. Bro, Sancho took the ball off him one time and the guy has never recovered. He's never recovered. He's been atrocious this season. You might not. You guys went from begging him not to begging him to leave. Then when Tuchel comes in, oh, you beg him not to leave, and then now you're begging him to leave again. Where's the consistency? Is he a good player or is he not? I wanna hear. Is it like, because all I'm hearing is like, he's supposed to be great at in interceptions. I'm not seeing any of that. Apparently he's great at passing. I'm not seeing any of this great passing. Even the one thing he had, the penalty. Where are the penalties? Because didn't he miss one against Chelsea, against Liverpool as well?
In the Carabao, I think, wasn't it?
In the car, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't miss an FA Cup.
Like the pens are gone, the passing's gone, the interceptions are gone. Like, what is he actually good for? What is he good for?
Look, I think that's a good one. And guys, hit like if you agree with this one, because look, the conversations were out there. We heard Rudiger should have been in the Ballon d'Or list. Was it even there? J5 should have won it. Was it Rudiger or Mendy? Might have been.
It was
both,
Mendy, but Mendy's been good though. Big up Mendy.
Well, to be fair, Rudiger has been decent, and Chelsea will miss that. They'll need to find a decent replacement. But yeah, this guy was actually talked about as being a genuine Ballon d'Or winner. Ballon d'Or more like fall on the floor after Jadon Sancho. That man got done. The juju went onto him. Like, it's ridiculous. It's weird because you're probably thinking, Jinky, you're a United fan. How can you talk about United been shit? No, I genuinely want to know what Chelsea have done this season, because yeah, United have been shit. Arsenal have been shit. Spurs have been shit. But I still can't try and work out what Chelsea have done.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be honest here. I'm just trying to be honest. Like, help me out, Chelsea fans. Like, call in and have that discussion with me, because I'm confused. I'm confused what has actually been done. Like, Chelsea fans, do you even back Tuchel for next year? I'm seeing the murmurs, but you do this a lot. You lose a couple of games, or you don't win a couple of games, and you want your manager out. So I'd like to get your thoughts on that one. But
also, what happened to Kepa? Apparently, the penalty specialist.
I don't want to talk about that guy. That guy died, as far as I'm concerned.
Isn't that no. I don't want.
I don't want to give this guy any airtime. Ever since what he did in that Carabao Cup final, I don't even acknowledge that guy's existence. He is a disgrace to football. Chelsea are a disgrace for even backing him in the first place. I don't want to talk about that fraud. Let's move on to North London Bottler. Nah, fuck him. Honest to God. No, he undermined his manager. Yeah, in the most horrific way that's even possible. I am not going to give that guy.
And he failed.
North London Bottlers.
Which
both.
One?
Let's talk about them in tandem.
The
most overrated derby ever in the Premier League. Yeah, what have you done in terms of actually fighting for anything? You haven't. You're fighting over 4th and 5th.
Bro, that's been their biggest fight. That's been their biggest fight. It's crazy because we've seen United and City compete for league titles for years. Like, actually be first and second, not just the first and second, like Jose first and second.
Well, it's become an ancient history, but yeah, at least we've been second last year.
We've seen it go down to goal difference, and like be that close. When have we ever seen Spurs and Arsenal actually compete?
Guys, hit like if you agree. North London Bottlers are they Bottlers? Is this the biggest bottler derby that you'll ever see? It's a middle.
The last time a club from North London has won a league is 2004. 2004. I didn't even watch it. Hey. I was still a kid. I was in nappies.
Hey, for Tottenham fans, because they don't know what success is. They have to go back to Worthington Cups. They have to go back to Worthington Cups. I would love to find a Spurs fan who's even drank Worthingtons, yeah, to let alone known about the Worthington Cup. But let's say congratulate them, because they don't get many things. They don't get many things. Well done for your certificate. You've got good
manager, good signings. Like, it was.
Hang on. No. Let's not give them too much yet. We'll talk about Kane and Son and Conte. So let's celebrate You got your Champions League.
Mm.
Your manager, who is a good manager, and Conte in terms of a league manager. You're now in a competition which he is quite well and truly shit in.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So Spurs, thank you ever so much for qualifying for the Champions League, and also thank you for now getting peppered in it, because you ain't getting out your group stages. You ain't getting out of it. There's a prediction. You can clip me for it. I don't care. Conte has a terrible reputation for it.
Didn't he like come last in his group with Inter when they won the league, and they had and their group was like they should have made it through?
Was that the Barcelona one, or was that the Real Madrid one where like they had I shot the sheriff and?
No, that was like it must have been the Barcelona one. It's the same season that Barcelona lost to PSG in the round of 16. So it must have been. It was last season. It was last season anyway. But this guy is like, what has he done in Europe? Like, you're going to the Champions League. Thing is, at least with the Champions League, they've got the money. But then you've got Daniel Levy. Name me a time when Daniel Levy's actually spent enough. Like, even when you guys have been down bad, he hasn't spent. So why would he spend now? And when you've been in you guys made a Champions League final, and then who did he buy? But like, who did he buy? I don't even. No, that's an honest question. Like, who did he buy? I'm pretty sure this is the only guy that's gone a whole summer with buying no players. So really, this is like, is this really the person? Like, can we really trust him to really invest? And then, thing is Conte even staying? Because Conte is now trying to offer himself to PSG.
Hey, and this is the weird thing with Spurs. This is the weird thing, like, where they are the type of team that will have a success in this moment, as far as they're concerned, and completely butcher it in the summer. You can see that doing Daniel Levy things, and then Conte going, doing a Craig David. He's walking away. You know what I mean? Like, it can happen. It can happen. This madman, he wants to be backed, and don't get me wrong, they had a couple of cute signings in January, but he needs further investment. You can't just constantly rely on Son and Kane. And just on the subject of Son, because he's joint Golden Boot with Salah for the Premier League. Incredible effort. But I want to have this agenda here. If Salah is Ballon d'Or, scoring the same amount of goals in the Prem, then where is Son? Where is Son? Guys, hit the like if you agree with this, because this is the uncomfortable truth. We want to have this discussion. Salah is Ballon d'Or. Son, in a poorer team, has scored the same amount of goals. So where is Son in this conversation? I want to have it here right now. Hit that StreamYard link.
And to be fair, when Aubameyang did the same thing, it didn't really work out. Wait, hold on. Are we also forgetting that this is the same team that got knocked out of the Conference League in the group stages? This isn't a good season at all for Spurs. Let's be real.
Nuno tax.
How are you in the position? Did you? I dare anyone to actually name the players, the actual players in those opposing teams.
Nah, Sam. One thing I will say is, if I was Daniel Levy, if I was Spurs fans, I'd pay some respects to Man United here right now. Yeah. I'm gonna be shameless. I'm taking this moment away from you, because if we didn't slap you in your own backyard 3-0, you wouldn't have had that managerial change. So whilst we decided to then give up the season and smoke our big fat L cigar, you got Conte in, and then here you are. And Sam, this is what we're talking about is literally inches here, because if they waited a week or two, there's no Champions League.
Yeah, like if for example, if Oli had lost that game and he got sacked, There is every possibility we could have got Conte in. There is every possibility.
No,
And
there's no possibility. No possibility.
They've certainly been negotiations.
Zero. You've heard it here
like
first. I'm giving you a David Ornstein exclusive. Zero chance. There was no
Really?
ifs, buts, and maybe with Conte. No. The way that Man United structure was, no.
What is Spurs that much better in terms of structure?
I'll tell you what. There's a lot of old guard who want to have things their way, and Conte was never going to be that guy. So, yeah.
But why are we still talking about Spurs though? We haven't even gone on to the real bottlers, the people that apparently have spent apparently you have the best young player in the Premier League. You've got the best DM in the Premier League. You got the best back line in the Premier League. You have the best young keeper in the Premier League. You've got the best young left winger in the Premier League, and somehow you've managed in a season to be one position above United in their worst ever Premier League season. Worst ever.
Whilst I'm gonna mute myself because I know this is your favourite topic.
Oh my god!
Slandering Arsenal fans. I'm just letting the world know that you're about to get in your soapbox now. You've just taken it off me, and you're now going to do it. So feel free whilst I get the Arsenal fans to chase you down.
So let's really start. Let's really get into it, because this is a club with fans that made Champions League compilations with Martinelli scoring the winner, and you have never seen. And how many of those players have actually played a Champions League game in their life? I don't think. Has Saka even seen Arsenal do well in Champions League? Like, I'm pretty sure in 2005 he wasn't even watching football back then. So like you've never for a club that has never ever succeeded in the Champions League, they really want to push this narrative that we're coming back, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. We're this team, or United are so dead. We're in the same competition, guys, and the craziest thing is we have more of a chance of winning it, despite you spending all that money. All that money spent, 150 million, I think, maybe more, to buy a keeper, to buy a dead left back, to buy a midfielder who's supposed to be apparently so great, but it's really just the Belgian Fred. And man got benched by El Neni, who you guys wanted out. But hey, like, apparently he's a great youngster. You've got Ben White, who's I'm sorry, this is another case. This is Maguire 2.0. He's such an average player. And next season, when teams aren't so confident to come at you, when you've got these low block teams, when you've got actual teams to actually defend against in Europe, because we're going to see some teams in Europa League that are actually going to try and go at Ben White because they know he can't defend. This is the same guy who I saw get spun and turned and got sent to back to Leeds in Brighton by Marcus Rashford with his shoulder injury and his foot injury. And this is the guy you really want to actually take you to Premier League titles, to Champions League.
The thing is for me, Sam, and this is where I have the problem with Arsenal fans, and I made my peace with this after they fucked up their chances against Spurs royally, and then again against Newcastle. This was a team that were overhyped for what they did. Now, I don't mind people quietly confident and saying, you know what, Arteta has progressed this team. We were eighth 2 years running. We're now challenging for top 4. By the way, with no competitions, mind you, spending. I might right say it because it was between them and Man United. Spent the most this season.
Can we wait? Hold on. I'm pretty sure there's another thing that we need to mention before you go on. They spent 3 years, 150 million, and apparently some of the best young players to come from the academy in so long. to only get back to where Emery left them. So you sacked Emery for what now? To get back to the same place. Even arguably, you did it even worse. Because when he came fifth, he still made a final.
Yeah.
And you guys haven't made any finals. You guys made a semi-final and got absolutely demolished by Liverpool. So this is the guy, this Mikel Arteta, who's done even less than Emery, who's now gone on to make a Champions League semi-final and win Europa League, and you're now backing Arteta because of what? And now you've got Saliba coming out saying, "Oh, I want to play Champions League, so I might go back to Arsenal next season." Imagine. After all that gas of this kid, oh yeah, such a great, and I will tell you, Saliba is an amazing centre back, amazing young centre back, but he's not gonna be at Arsenal because it's now for you. Players are backing out of contracts. Jesus is gonna now you turn on Jesus now. Next season, who are you really gonna get? Squad's getting thinner. Where's Champions League?
But this is what I warned with Arsenal guys, and then they all laughed at me and went shiver my timbers and all that memes and trolling and chatting all bollocks and this, that, and the other. Well, look at you now. You're swimming in the same pig shit as Manchester United. So congratulations to you guys. You get to listen to the Europa League tune as much as we do.
We'll hear it more. We'll make it for further. Don't worry. We'll make it further.
They'll probably get to semi-finals and lose to Emery again or something like that.
They'll make it to. I would argue they won't make it past the round of 16.
All right, hit the like if you agree with that one. With Newcastle, because they spent a lot in January, but before that point, Arsenal were the biggest spenders, £121 million. Man United were around that £100 million mark, and the reality is like, well, hang on, like all that your biggest spenders to go up 3 places, and now what you've done is put yourself in a situation where be some real investment now, because you're going back to playing 2 games a week, Thursday to Sunday. And your squad is very, very small.
And it's getting smaller.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. Who have they got up front? You're saying that Martinelli's your guy. Like,
I heard Nketiah.
Well, they're twerking for this guy again. Like, that's how embarrassing it is.
No, but here's but what's so funny is so we know that Bielsa has a system that creates a lot of chances for their striker, right? So because I think Bamford was up there for the most big chances missed in Europe, like the whole of Europe, which is insane. You had the guy in Nketiah who couldn't even bag for Leeds, and they sent him back because he was too bad to play for a Leeds side who feed you chances. And now you've got Arsenal who aren't going to create as many chances because Leeds do create more chances purely from the fact that they don't defend. They have no sense of actual defending. So they just literally push everyone forward and just go all out attack. It's like FIFA. So now you're going to have Nketiah, and now Lacazette, he's now going, even though he was never really that good. He hasn't been good for like 3 seasons anyway. But now he's going. Who are you gonna buy? You just got rejected by Napoli, the bid for Osimhen. So Jesus is making a U-turn. Martinelli damn well sure can't play striker. Who you gonna play up front? And then you've got the fact that Saka can't play every game next season because it's Thursday, Sunday. Martinelli, I swear he only has like 3 goals in 2022.
At the end of the day, you reap what you sow. This is what happens when you gas up a load of average players. That this is a team that when there's no pressure on, they pretend that they're tiki-taka Barcelona. Yeah, everybody all turns up. Everyone knows their roles. As soon as there's any mention or pressure or anything like that, this team crumble. And a lot of Arsenal fans want to pretend now that they never backed Arteta and this, that, and the other. Shut the hell up. the front, the chest that a lot of these people had when they beat United at Emirates. I was there in the conversations, I was there in the spaces, hearing you guys all cocky and everything like that. And I said, and these were my words of warning, I hope that you get that Champions League. I hope for your sakes that you do, because you guys are at a crossroads, because you need to build your squad. You've got a tiny squad. Now they're going to have the same thing that's happened to Leicester, that's happened to Swansea, and all those teams like that back in the day who've been in Europa who don't have big squads. They get caught out every time. And I don't want to hear the excuses. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. We'll see how good Josh Kroenke and everybody is, because everybody's been very quiet about them this season. All of a sudden, they've got it right. They're listening to Arteta. It's his team. He's built that team. It's all his kids. Right? Have that same energy and this summer. We'll really see if Arsenal's board are backing it. And going from one inconsistent board to another, we will talk about Manchester United. Where do we even start with this team?
There's nowhere to start. There's like everything's just been bad. There's nothing too good to come out of this season. Nothing.
Sam, I'll ask you this question. I'll ask you this question because we were there at the start of the season. We just bought Varane. He got unveiled. He was in that sharp suit, taking selfies. A few fans made comments about, the Manchester United have found a place for the Sikhs there because they feel that these guys are literally good luck charms because they were there during Fergie's era and they disappeared after Moyes, but they were back. There was a big vibe at Old Trafford. Everything was good. Then we played, the Leeds game even. Ronaldo was the Newcastle game, so the Leeds game. It was and then we thump them. So the world is great. We've got Sancho, we got Varane, and then it seemed like after the Ronaldo signing at Newcastle, it just suddenly just went.
It started going
down.
off. It started going a bit badly, and then when we hit the game against Liverpool, it just dropped off a cliff. It dropped off a serious cliff.
But the signs were there. The signs were there.
The signs were there. It was literally like, oh, this isn't looking too great. But because I just assumed it would be like, because I think Ollie every season he has like that one period where he's like it's not too good, and then he just somehow, and then when all the chips are down, he just somehow gets this like run of like 10, 15 games unbeaten, and we're thinking, what the hell's going on? We haven't lost in like 2-3 months. This is amazing. The luck had run out. It went from bad to worse. And then losing to Watford 4-1. That was shocking.
But this is the thing, and what one thing that's been highlighted is I know confidence is a big thing when it comes to football. But what we've seen with these players is just truly ridiculous. Certain people have been found out. Certain people concentrate too much on social media. Too many people have got their PR teams and their representatives, trying to throw out statistics going, look, this guy is good because when he plays, we lose less games when he's there. But when he's not there, you lose. I don't want to hear it. Like, I'm watching this guy or these players make terrible, terrible decisions on the pitch that bring nervousness to fans and probably the players around them. I'm seeing players walking around a pitch, not caring, yet they're supposed to be with a manager who's high pressing. And they're walking around on a pitch. Absolutely disgraceful. And honest to God, if all those players weren't there next season, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care if we generally hit the reset. But I know that's not realistic. I know a lot of them will be there. And then, a couple of players will score. And then my brain will reset and we'll all love them again. But this summer, United have the opportunity to do something different. And I'm slightly worried, Sam, and I've said this to people on Discord when Ten Hag got announced. I like the coach a lot. I don't trust that things will change. I think things will be done in terms of optics to make it look like there's a change. But then we'll do the whole Project FC 6.0 again. Now, yes, we've got rid of Matt Judges. Great. Ed Woodward's gone. Great. There's people being brought in. Okay, cool. I'm seeing people like Wan-Bissaka being scapegoated. Let's get rid.
Shocking.
Let's get rid. Okay. Harry Maguire's being scapegoated. So basically, it just seems to me that all the Ollie signings now are just getting scapegoated in terms of why it's not working now.
We've been doing, but like this is the same story that's been happening. When Jose came in, we heard a lot of the Van Gaal signings. We had Martial being scapegoated by Jose himself as well. Memphis Depay is not good enough, and so on and so forth. Luke Shaw tried to scapegoat him, but the fan base wouldn't let Jose scapegoat Luke Shaw. And then when Ollie came in, it was all these Jose players, it was all his fault. It kept going around that again, and then we keep this continuous cycle of the last manager didn't know what he was doing, and now we have to get a whole new set of players. The only thing that I would say it's slightly, I understand with I still wouldn't sell Wan-Bissaka because he is still an asset that can be used in games. No, this is the best 1v1 defender in the world still, statistically. If you know that like you're going to have, I don't know, you're going to have a player like Neymar, or you're going to have a player like Mbappe, and you need someone to actually try and stop them on that left-hand side, you can use Wan-Bissaka in those games. And he has to be, and honestly, if the team's winning, I'm pretty sure he would be fine in just being a bench player and playing small games. And if you see Wan-Bissaka against smaller teams, like in Carabao Cup games, he does look better going forward because it's against worse players. So he can play his part, and then we bring in someone who's who's just an overall better fullback, and it's fine. This whole narrative that Dalot, because Dalot hasn't done anything going forward. He's had that 2 shots against Arsenal where he's I think the amount of times he's hit the bar and post is ridiculous. The fact that he doesn't even cross. People complaining about Wan-Bissaka crossing. I've never seen that guy cross ever in his life. And when he does, it's atrocious.
Yeah.
And then, but apparently because he does a few cute dribbles, he's now this guy. Like, this isn't the, and like the guy's been here how many years as well? 3-4 years, and we're still leaving him.
Realistically, it says United need to do a proper change and list. But maybe I'm contradicting myself. Where if Ten Hag has said I don't want Wan-Bissaka, great. If he said that and he said that, but it just from an optics point of view, from a PR point of view, I just feel like it's that thing where we're trying to pull the wool over the fans' eyes again. We'll do the whole it's a Project FC. So we have to wait 6 years. We'll then see the recycled arguments about Klopp had 5-6 years. You got to give him time. And from a league perspective, I kind of get it.
But Klopp had 5-6 years and won one league title.
From a league perspective, I get it. One thing I don't get, and I still haven't on the Twitter Spaces had a response to this yet. I'm just getting politician answers. What is your expectations for cups? Because we have had terrible managers by certain fan standards, who were still able to get to the latter stages, semi-finals, finals, etc. Now, we are saying as a collective that this coach is fundamentally better than the likes of a Rangnick and a Solskjaer. So why is it that us as a club negating the responsibilities when it comes to that one. So
Look,
we're going to go into Europa League, yeah, and all of a sudden people are actually generally come out and go, "Well, I don't care because it's his first season."
no, he has to
No,
win it.
wait a minute, hang on. You're happy for us to go out in the group stages? I don't buy that. You'll be the first ones on your social media going nuts, asking him to be sacked. There still has to be that standard as a cup team. And if people want to bring out the tired Klopp, he had time. Klopp was getting to latter stages of cup competitions. He just wasn't winning them. He was still getting to semi-finals and finals. So, and people want to keep dancing around how that Liverpool team were dead. Well, at the end of the day, Manchester United, irrespective of the team that they have, is still a massive club. They're still a massive representation in terms of Europa League. They are still going to be viewed in Europe as one of the favourites. I don't want to hear this horseshit in the nicest possible way. That's its first season. The league I can get because you need consistency. You need continuity when it comes to league. When it comes to competition, United are always going to have a favourable draw in the group. They're likely to have a favourable, last 32 draw. Yeah. And then it's basically pot luck. You could realistically be in an FA Cup situation or a League Cup situation where you will have the luck of the draw. You could get a load of bum League One teams and get yourself in a semi-final.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. So I don't want to hear it. I literally don't want to hear it. But United have been they've been poor. They've been a lot of players have been disgraced. What have your thoughts been on Rangnick?
As a manager, he's the worst. I'm saying this with the utmost respect for him. He is the worst United manager I've ever seen. He was like he literally is on all accounts. The football's been the worst it's ever been. Statistically, he is the worst. Like, there's been literally nothing good about what he's done. As a manager, he's very poor. But the thing is, no one ever said he was a good manager. He was never supposed to be a good manager.
Hang on. I'm not sure about that one.
Whoever said he was a good manager?
Come on. Nah, Sam, I'm not buying into that. Like, I'm not buying into that. Because people were saying that this was Klopp and this is Tuchel's dad. So he taught them. He taught them.
Which, like, that's
you've seen it.
Which is the worst narrative.
Don't act like United fans didn't.
Oh, I'll be honest. Some United fans did, and do you want to know what? They are deluded for thinking so. They're seriously deluded for thinking so, because there is a reason why this guy was never given a top job, and these other two cool Klopps were. Same reason why people say, "Oh, Bielsa is like taught Pep and Pochettino and stuff like that." I don't even know where the Bielsa and Pep thing comes from personally, but we know that Poch was under him at one point. But they've both gone on to better jobs, and his biggest ever achievement in football is getting Leeds promoted. Like, it's the same thing. He is literally just the German Bielsa, which is fine. But that for me, it was fine, because I knew that his main thing isn't managing. He was never supposed to be a good manager. Is what he does in the background, and what he has helped. And I think people, yes, he's helped a lot, but I think people have ignored the main person in all of this, John Murtough, because John Murtough is actually the one making all these choices and all these and actually the one that's getting people to resign and etc. Them together have actually done a lot of cleaning out of some of the worst people to have ever touched this club. Matt Judges is the worst negotiator ever in football, and I don't believe. And if he ever gets another job, I hope that club fails, because you should fail for employing him. He's absolutely atrocious. This is the guy who, I think Fred was for 25 million. We should have gotten Fred. I think that was Fred's price, and he bought him for 50 million. This is the same guy that rejected 75 million for Koulibaly to pay 80 million for Maguire, paid 50 million for Wan-Bissaka after one season of football. absolutely atrocious signings. The guy spent 90 million on Pogba. Yes, Pogba was a very good player and a very sought after player. 90 million though, the most expensive midfielder of all time. Come on. Well now it's Jack Grealish, but come on.
Yeah, with the let's go back to the Rangnick thing.
Yeah,
Because you're saying he's the German Bielsa, obviously didn't rate him as a coach. Do you like how he brought certain things out in public? Do
yes.
you think this is a case of, let's not air dirty laundry in public, or were you kind of glad that he brought it to the forefront?
I feel like he needed to. It was literally the only way. It was the only way, because if he didn't, the things would have just continued on its cycle. It would just been the same narratives all over again. A manager being scapegoated, and then it would be Ten Hag next. It'd be Ten Hag scapegoated for the same things, and the same players are going to be protected again and again and again and again. Players like Luke Shaw, who've been here for 8 years, are going to be left alone, and then another manager scapegoated. So I think Ten Hag needed to expose some of the culture, some things going on in the background of this club. So some things going on in with certain players. When people ask him, "Oh, why is this player not in the squad?" He went out and said, "This player told me he did not want to play, so I did not play him." And the thing is, that's the thing I also like about Ten Hag, and I think that's one of the things Ten Hag will continue. That Ragnick's been really good at. He says things plain and simple. He's not trying to do these like hidden messages and all this nonsense. He's straightforward and he's straight talking. He exposed what's going on behind the scenes. He exposed what's going on with the players and how some of the players treat this club. And it's been exceptional on that front. His press conferences has been the only highlight of this United season, because he's actually exposed all the disgusting attitudes and disgusting behaviors that people in this club actually go about doing.
Yeah. No, interesting times for United. Just quickly, guys, make sure you continue really hitting those likes. It's all about just getting those many likes as possible. Let's share this debate in terms of the Premier League. We've heard so many agendas when it's come to the Premier League. How I've seen a lot of fans do 180s in this past couple of weeks. It's been very, very interesting. But as we've always said each week, the ministry representatives, people like myself, Sam, are always on the Twitter Spaces. We're always there or thereabouts, always listening to really good debates and being active on debates. So, if you are on Twitter, make sure you hit those Twitter Spaces. It is a community. Let's all follow each other, because the more people you sort of listen to, the broader knowledge you'll have. You don't have to agree with it, but it is good because you do generally get different points of view on this one. So make sure you do hit that. Make sure you hit the follow for myself, Jinky Knows, and at Doctor Who Sam 7 on Twitter. On Instagram as well, and make sure, more importantly, you also hit that subscribe when it comes to the ministry. We want to see that go up. Sam, just as we kind of get to sort of the next segment, let's talk about the relegation teams. Let's talk about the relegation teams. So, the relegation battle ended up. Final day was just between Leeds and Burnley. Somehow Everton were clutch and just got those wins when needed. Disappointing to see the fans try and take on Patrick Vieira. That's a bit of a madness. I think the Scousers there, I think they chose violence and regretted it. But yeah, so the eventual losers of this were Burnley, Watford, and Norwich. Are you surprised? Are you surprised that Leeds got out, or are you kind of thinking they had enough?
They're so lucky. They are so lucky. I'm so annoyed. This would have made it the perfect weekend. Would have made it the perfect weekend, because that team does not deserve to stay in the Premier League. People are talking about, oh, they play attractive football, blah blah blah, oh, this and that, etc. I'd stop. Like, football is not good when you can't defend. They still can't defend. They said Bielsa's the issue. Bielsa's now gone, and they've got Jesse Marsh. They still can't defend, and like it's still poor. And then Burnley, you always need a team like. Personally, I don't have hate for Burnley. I don't have. I know people think, oh, it's ugly football. They're just aggressive, etc., etc. Is all Stoke 2.0. I don't mind it.
No,
Because I don't mind it at all. Because that's actually an integral part of what the Premier League is about. You always have
you need different styles.
A bit of aggression. Because one, it just stops the league from being soft. Because I don't like it when players just like go on the ground or just like, oh, you get a little tap and then just jump like they've been struck by lightning. Like the fact seeing a player like Chris Wood just absolutely shoulder someone, or Weghorst. Oh, lovely! Like these are it's absolutely, it's a great team to actually watch. A team that went from being in the Europa League, I'm pretty sure, and to see how far they fallen is actually quite sad. And it's actually quite sad to actually see them leave. But I think they'll be back next season, hopefully, because the lack of spending has been a very big detriment to them. But I know they've got the safety net, so I think they'll be able to buy a few players and then come back up to just as easily as they went down.
Well, the problem is there's some continuity between the teams that got relegated. In terms of not trusting the managers that took them up, and maintained them, in Sean Dyche's case.
Yeah.
So Norwich came up with, that interesting sort of brand of football where people like Emi Buendia was integral.
Yeah.
And I was having conversations with a number of Norwich fans about this. When Norwich sold Buendia to Aston Villa, I said, you're done, because when you looked at their championship games, they were always winning under Buendia. The moment that Buendia was, I think it was either injured or suspended or both, they didn't win a single game. They didn't score a single goal. But then the first game that they were back, they were winning 4-0. And he was that integral. And, he had a knock-on effect on other players, people like Max Aarons and whatnot.
Yeah.
And ultimately, people like Norwich then replaced him, which is effectively an inverted cam, with wingers, out-and-out wingers. It just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to what the manager was about. They looked pretty lightweight, and and they pulled the trigger quite early and got Dean Smith, who, again, there's been a lot of warnings
to get there was literally,
he got sacked from Villa.
Just got sacked for literally heading his team down to relegation.
So it doesn't, make it make sense. Another year of lack of ambition from Norwich, and then you got Watford again, similar situation. Cisco brought him up.
Yeah,
he was a manager who generally believed in wing play. He was quite attacking. People were talking about Sarr. People were talking about Dennis. People were talking about Ken Sema and people like that. And they didn't trust him because for some strange reason, with these weird Watford owners, they kind of think they should be punching top four or something. It's a really weird one. They just sack managers for no reason at all. So they sack him, and who do they get? So they go from Cisco, who's a really attack-minded manager, to then getting Ranieri, who's about as pragmatic as it gets. And all Ranieri did was just basically get Ollie sacked. That was his contribution to the Prem and Watford.
I was very confused because I get Ranieri has done things, but since has he actually done anything of note since in almost 10 years now?
I don't know. Either way, for me, it's always, I always look at continuity of managers, and I think, well, if you got promoted on a manager who has developed a really good wing attack style of play, you're buying players who are very pacey, who
Yeah.
getting behind. Like I think Dennis for the first half of the season actually represented himself pretty well.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if no other Prem team looked at him.
I think he's linked with a few clubs. I think he's going for 25 mil for
Yeah,
a
and
few clubs looking
I
at him.
think it'd be worth it. I think for any team, I think even
Even to
top
be on the
six wise,
bench.
it's a good punt to have.
Mm.
And it's just weird. But then you get a manager who's just the complete opposite. But I as far as Watford and their ownership are concerned, I'm kind of glad. I'm glad when you want to have three
Yeah.
managers in a season, serve you right.
Watford
Go
always
back
do
to the
it though.
championship. Do what you do. I'm sure we'll probably see you in a couple of years' time.
Watford always have this thing where they go when things start going wrong, they panic and then just try and chop and change. What season was it? Was it 2 seasons ago that they like?
Well,
How
five
many?
managers.
I think we have 5 managers, and they were just sacking managers after like 1-2 games. It's like nothing's gonna work.
So yeah, that's their model. Maybe they're just looking to get the parachute money, and then maybe back channel it to Udinese because they obviously the family own lots of clubs, don't they? Burnley for me, they panicked. They just panicked too soon. They didn't trust Sean Dyche, and here you are. So it wouldn't surprise me if Burnley had a double relegation. We've seen it with certain teams, because they're going to get asset stripped. Does it? Tarkowski's going to go on a free.
Yeah,
So they've lost a ton of money for him because I think people at Leicester were looking at him at one point. 40-50 million was quoted. They've lost all that. People like Ben Mee will still stay because he's the captain.
I think Dwight McNeil might get taken as well.
Yeah, like people at McNeil, Workhorse, they're all going to go. They're all going to go.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're going to be that team who don't have that money, with expensive players in their books. And we've seen how quick players throw certain teams under the bus. It wouldn't surprise me. Where is that real investment when it comes to Burnley? As I said, it wouldn't surprise me if they were. We've seen it with Sunderland. We've seen it with Leeds.
I was going to say with like Bolton.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot. Bolton at one point were a very decent team. Were actually a very decent team, and then things went wrong, and they had a lot of expensive players. Didn't have the money. Then the players I'm pretty sure they had a strike. I think 2 seasons ago, where players just had a massive strike and then wouldn't play, and then they started the next season with negative points, and it just went from bad to worse for them, really. And they've never really recovered. I think they're still financially quite bad, but they're getting slightly better. But yeah.
So Leeds, and begrudgingly, they've survived the Prem. I echo your comments on them. Everton's a madness. Do you think they'll struggle next year, or do you think this is just a blip?
I think they won't. I don't think they will. I think they'll just end up being a mid-table again. I don't think they're gonna really get relegated or be in any real danger. Yeah. I think it was just it was kind of the shock of Ancelotti leaving, and then they lost James as well. Because James only really goes where Ancelotti tells him to go, and Real Madrid weren't really gonna buy him. So it's I think they had a lot of shock, and then they started going down, and then they had to bring in a new manager. The thing is though, people don't want to give him a little bit of credit. I know he's not a great manager. However, Frank Lampard, he's actually done. If you gave him a few youth players, gave him a few when he has young players and youthful players and just people with a lot of energy and passion, he can get a tune out of them. And we saw it at Chelsea in the first season. We saw it at Derby as well, where they were very talented youngsters, but he was able to get a really good tune out of them and almost take them up to the Premier League. So I think he will just end up being just floundering in mid-table.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I I think for me, I want to sort of discuss this segment before we talk about your Premier League player of the season
Mm,
and young player of the season.
mm,
Um, who's kind of been your biggest surprise for you? Because for me, and
mm,
I I think we have to really pay some respects for Newcastle and
mm.
their escape. This team were dead in when Eddie Howe took over, and they were comfortably mid-table
Yeah,
in the end. They went on a mad run. They look like a difficult team to beat. I don't think it can be confidence, and confidence is a big thing. But
yeah,
I would put Eddie Howe up there in terms of manager of the
mm,
season, because this guy, and this is where people need to check it in terms of their agendas. They don't rate Eddie Howe.
because he got Bournemouth relegated.
People don't rate Eddie Howe. He was done English tax. I've heard it all before. This guy generally came in, probably not as the owner's favorite choice, but it was kind
Mm,
of like they had to do it. And he has got them safe, and he's got them playing football. He's got people like Joe Linton playing
yeah,
out of his skin to a point that you could argue he should really be called up to
bro,
play
he's
in
past.
midfield for Brazil. This was a guy who was a number 9 at Hoffenheim, and you're talking about this guy being a midfielder now for Brazil. But you know him, he's done wonders there.
Mm.
Brighton, I think we have to give a shout. I think this is
Ah,
their highest placing
yes,
in the
it's
Premier League,
close.
finishing ninth.
Mm,
Um, and again, they didn't even replace Ben White.
yeah.
You
The
know,
thing is, though, I wasn't like you. I Brighton and a lot of watching them play. I wasn't surprised because I'd seen like they are quite solid defensively. They still have the issue where they're getting better, but their ability at scoring goals is still poor. Neil Maupay needs to go. Danny Welbeck can be a bench, but he's not. He can't be a starting striker for them. But they have upped their game again. This has been a progression for a few seasons now. Graham Potter might be one of the most underrated managers in the Premier League. And some people say he's overrated. I don't really see that. This guy is probably, I would confidently say he's a better manager than Mikel Arteta, which I don't think is actually that shocking to really say. Um, and I think with Brighton, I like certain players, Bissouma. If anyone saw him play against Spurs, what a performance! This guy controlled a midfield while pocketing Kane at the same time. And then you've got players like Cucurella who have come in and done amazing things. Tariq Lamptey is still trying to gain more, but he's looking pretty decent. It's a great team.
I think what we're seeing here with Brighton is the peak. I don't think. I think what we're going to see is a gradual decline, and the reason being is I think Graham Potter will eventually go, and I think that's when it will
Mm,
be really the point. But
mm,
Dan Ashworth has to get a really big special mention here. This is the technical director.
mm,
He was a part of the St George's England setup,
mm.
a huge part of a lot of the youth teams winning the World Cups and
Yeah,
European Championships and whatnot. And a lot of the players that are coming through that you're seeing now, your Phil Fodens, your Jadon Sanchos,
he was.
these guys are part of that development. Mason Mounts, etc. So he went to Brighton a number of years. He only left in February to go to Newcastle. So it wouldn't
Yeah,
surprise me going forward that Newcastle start pulling out. Whilst we keep talking about all these big money signings, it won't surprise me if Newcastle get some really under the radar Kante style. You get this midfielder from the 8th division of France kind of thing,
yeah.
because that's what
I,
Brighton done. That
mm,
most is Caicedo. You know, people always talk about Basuma. Basuma can go, and Caicedo probably like uh, take over
mm,
from him.
yeah.
But Dan Ashworth is a huge part of that, and I do worry for Brighton going forward. I think next year they will be fine. I don't think it's going to be relegation. I just think it's going to be that
Mm.
gradual decline in a similar way that Swansea perhaps were.
I think the issue will be that it depends on next season. One club that it depends on, Leicester. If Leicester look to sack Brendan Rodgers, I think they go after Graham Potter. And once Graham Potter leaves, that is going to be very problematic for Brighton, because what manager is Brighton really going to get? Because getting Graham Potter was a real coup for. And
yeah, I have a sneaky suspicion of who they probably would go for, in terms of, you know, in terms of how they went about getting Graham Potter in the first place. But for me, like, was that Knutson? It wouldn't surprise me if they look at that Glint manager, Knutson, who, you know, he did all right in the Conference League, beat Roma 6-1.
yeah,
He's very technically based, and obviously he's been pushing Mulder in the Norwegian league. But I would say that'll be the manager. For me, another, I'd say a surprise. Actually, we have to give credit where it's due. Is West Ham. You know, West Ham. Don't forget, you know, they don't have the biggest of squads.
yeah.
They got to a semi-final of Europa League and still maintained a decent Premier League run. So, you know, fair play to David Moyes. There's been a lot of talk about Declan Rice. I think Declan Rice will be, in terms of domestically, he will be that big transfer.
Yeah.
Ironically, he's probably, if he does go, he'll go for more than what Haaland has gone to City.
Which is hilarious.
Which is hilarious. What do you think of Declan Rice? Because obviously there's been a lot of talk about him in terms of his performance. He's you know, he has been improving year on year. Where do you rate him now?
This season, like I've really liked Declan Rice from the first time. I think the first time I saw him, he was actually playing centre back, and it seems like each season he just pushes a bit more forward every time. But I've always thought he's very, very good player. I think this season has been one of the best midfielders in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I do worry though, because I understand he's at a club like West Ham where you're like he's like the main player in a squad that's not really got a lot of stars. I think the real players that are known from West Ham are him, Bowen, and Antonio. And then him going to a club like, maybe he might go to like a Chelsea, who have very high expectations of players, and like he might have to hit the ground running immediately, because like that Chelsea squad has a lot of aging players. Kante is getting quite old. You've got Jorginho, he might go to Juventus, and Kovacic gets few injuries, so he might have to come in and instantly kick on. But I think personally, I think the best career move for him would actually be to go to Man City to develop his game more. He's got Rodri, who will start ahead of him anyway, and he'll literally just be replacing Fernandinho, who can play again DM and centre back, which he can do. So I think that would be the best career move for him. I don't think that will happen. I think if anything, he will probably end up going to Chelsea, and that could really be a make or break for him personally. But yeah, it's a great player though, great young player. There's another team that hasn't been highlighted yet. I just want to quickly mention Crystal Palace, because last season we saw them quite near the bottom of the Premier League, and it looks like Roy Hodgson had left, and like it was the end of an era. And we see that a lot of times when teams are going into a new era of their club, they tend to just sometimes things just tend to go really wrong at first. Patrick Vieira has come in, completely changed the culture of that whole club. He has made sure, the first thing he said, he only wanted players that are serious.
Yeah.
He got rid of a lot of players that he did not think were able to suit that team. And he has gone on and he's done great things. This season, he's had with a lot of young players, a lot of people like Eze, you've had Conor Gallagher, Mateta, Edward. We've seen Zaha have a pretty decent season. Even Jordan Ayew has actually been quite good. People are saying he doesn't score goals and get a lot of assists, but if you look at his role in that team, He actually does his job very efficiently. The defender, Gay or Gay,
Yeah, Mark Gay. Yeah,
yeah, Mark Gay, fantastic. I don't know where he came from, but he's come in and he's looked like a proper player.
Mark
That
Gay's
team.
he's Chelsea academy.
Why does Chelsea keep doing this? They actually do this to themselves. I don't know how, but he's come in and he's looked amazing. I don't know why Chelsea have let him go, because now they probably want him back now, considering the state of their defense.
Mm.
But yeah, like especially Conor Gallagher as well. Wow, and don't know why you sent him on loan and left Ruben Loftus-Cheek in. That another great player. Like I think they just had a really solid season, and if they get the backing they need, they could go on and possibly next season challenge for Europe. Yeah. Possibly.
Mm. Okay, no, that's fine. That's good. Last segment, your favorite picks in terms of let's keep this one snappy in terms of who's your favorite in terms of player of the year, young player of the year, and your favorite goal. Actually, and top manager as well.
Okay. Player of the year, I think the Premier League got it right. Kevin De Bruyne. The guy's too crucial to his team. Like he just does. Like it's not even about stats. The way he controls the game, she just does what he does. It's Kevin De Bruyne at this point. It's best player in the Premier League. Best young player, best young player. I'd say Saka. I think people really do sleep on what Saka does for Arsenal. If you see Arsenal when he's not there versus when he is there, there's a clear difference. Saka is literally what makes that team tick, and it's very rare to see such a young player be the linchpin for their side winning games. Yeah. Then manager of the season, Eddie Howe, because what he's done. Newcastle should not have made it out. They should not have made. I know they made a lot of signings, but to make all the signings work as quickly as he did, and to make everything go together, the way he's got Newcastle fans happy about their club again, it's ridiculous. You can hear Newcastle fans are actually enjoying going to Newcastle, the Newcastle stadium, and actually wanting to watch games now.
Yeah,
it's been incredible. And goal of the season. Oh, there's been so many. I've got a few. I'll probably say. I'd say Ronaldo versus Spurs, because that is still incredible to me.
Yeah, no, I think that's a solid choice. I think I can't find an argument to find someone different to Kevin De Bruyne. As I said, like he has controlled games. He's been immensely clutch in big moments. You saw like the assist like earlier today. Like he just comes up when it matters, and he's been brilliant. I think for young player of the year, Phil Foden, I think they got that right as well. It's just techie. Like don't forget, Jack Grealish was supposed to be in that position.
Yeah.
I haven't even looked. No, this guy is mustard. This guy really is the truth. Like, take the rose tinted glasses off. He is a brilliant footballer, and I'm excited to see what he does. And I'm hoping that Gareth Southgate has him more starting.
He won't.
Well, he may not, but I just want to, because this guy builds and builds and builds, and so this guy is high level. It really is. Manager, I think it's going to be a lot of agreements here. Yeah, Eddie Howe. I know we could talk about Pep, we could talk about Klopp in terms of what they've done, but Newcastle weren't making out the hood. Like that meme was there. It was there, and he found a way. Richard Williams literally Newcastle out of it and made them kings. Do you know what I mean? Like he did well. And Newcastle's football, I watched what they did against Arsenal. And you look at the personnel that they've got, and this is no disrespect to them, you wouldn't think, if you, honest to God, like if you're like, you didn't know what colours Arsenal were, what Newcastle were, or you just told me that Arsenal were the big club. You would think Arsenal was a black and white team, wouldn't you? Like it was, they were playing really good stuff, and you got to give credit where it's due. You know, I think it was like form-wise since Eddie Howe's joined. I think they're literally top 4, possibly even higher than that. And like that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Given people can go, yeah, they've spent their way out of it. They got 100 mil, but you're thinking, well, yeah, but they've also got the right personnel, clearly, because it's something's clicked. That the Bruno signing. Oh, there you go. We'll talk about that actually. That's another question I'll ask you shortly. But yeah, it's Eddie Howe for me, and the goal of the season. I'm torn. I think I'm going to give it to Salah, the Salah Man City game, because when you think of what Man City are, a good team defensively. He mugged them all off with his little like side steps, and this, that, and the other. And that game and just the whole occasion in terms of that was a high class moment with 2 very good footballing teams. And I got to have appreciation for that. But that was between that and Andros Townsend's thunderbolt against Burnley at the start of the season.
I also had Kovacic goal against Chelsea. Against Liverpool.
Yeah. No, these are good goals. Signing of the season and flop of the season.
Signing of the season. That's a really hard one. I'll do flop first. Flop first will forever and will always be to me Lukaku, one of the worst. I would argue one of the worst Premier League signings as of now. So signing of the season, I would argue it's Tomiyasu. Been very good. It's a
huge shout. I must admit that was a proper under radar hidden gem kind of move. I'm going to say Bruno at Newcastle. I know there's a lot of talk about Diaz at Liverpool and he's been good, but in terms of impact, the impact a player has made, I cannot think of a bigger impact than what Bruno has made at Newcastle.
Kulusevski, massive impact at Spurs.
Yeah. He is very underrated for what he does. I'm looking at this for like just the clutches and whatnot. Yeah. You saw where Newcastle were dead. Spurs were still top 4 fighting. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, he is right. He's a very underrated player. So that's why I gave it to Bruno. Do Liverpool still fight for the title if Diaz isn't there? Yes. Yeah, I think so. But Diaz was a great signing. Don't want to make out that he wasn't. But yeah, Bruno for me for that impact. But yeah, I think to be fair, that's a wrap up. You know, Premier League 2021-22 for Sam and myself. It literally it has been emotional. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad it's done. For people out there, I'm not a huge fan when it comes to transfer rumors. I'm not that guy. So you know, I may not be on so much. Sam, I know you're more into your transfers, and I know Z loves his transfers. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of chat here. So I'm gonna force Ghost, and you'll see myself coming back when you've got actual proper seasons here. I'm all about the ice. I want to see confirmed players, football on the pitch. I don't want to hit. Here we go. I'm not that guy. Look, David Ornstein. Look, I'll leave them to it. I'll leave Twitter. And I look forward to 20,000 transfers that are going to be linked to Manchester United. We'll obviously do another show next week following the conclusion of the Champions League. That's going to be a really good one. That's going to be a really fun show. Obviously, you're going to have myself and Sam. Z will be on there, and there's going to be a few special guests on, which we'll tease throughout the week. But guys, it's been great. I really hope that you've enjoyed this football season, and let's hope for bigger, better things for your respective clubs. But Sam, thank you so much, and guys, take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.